Kia ora team, Coach Carr here, back at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the principles of fat loss. So these principles are simple but not necessarily easy to adhere to over a long period of time without some basic knowledge, so that's what we're going to be going over. There's much conflicting advice when it comes to diets. There's many different diets around, but all diets achieve success or some measure of success the same way, and that's by getting you to be in a calorie deficit. So for example, like a keto style diet is going to get you to reduce the amount of carbohydrates that you intake. Now, it's not the lack of carbohydrates that are going to allow you to get leaner, it's just that you're likely consuming less calories overall. I mean, think about when you remove carbohydrates from your diet, how much food that you're taking out. Let's say diets or eating regimes such as intermittent fasting, you might not be eating, you might be eating the same type of food, but by restricting the window in which you eat will generally lead to someone consuming less food. It's harder to eat that same amount of calories out there. So if you're a snacking type person who's eating every 2 hours, if you've reduced that window to only 6 hours. And the same goes for any diet. You've got those really extreme diets where you're only drinking lemon tea, especially. I think those were really popular in like the 90s and those women's magazines and things like that. I believe Brad Pitt got so lean for his Fight Club movie by carrot juice. It was just from getting really, really lean via calorie deficit. Now, most of these diets, or the way that they are marketed and that are presented to the consumer, are not easily sustainable for a long period of time, and this is where these principles can help you out. So you can sort of customize and make your own diet. So I myself am a diet agnostic. That means I don't subscribe to one particular diet methodology or philosophy. Everyone's going to find a diet or an eating regime that's going to work best for them. So there's not one magic diet, one magic pill, one magic training program. Okay, so now we're going to be going over the principles. So principle number 1, calorie deficit. Are you in a calorie deficit for an extended period of time? Okay, so first of all, before we answer that question, what is a calorie deficit? So that is when you're consuming less calories or food to maintain your current body weight. Simple as that. If you're not in a calorie deficit, it doesn't matter what else, or it doesn't matter what you're eating, or how much exercise you're doing, you will not lose weight. Okay, simple as that. And the other thing is, we're going to touch on our macronutrients, because there is one important macronutrient which can really help when you're losing body weight as to how much fat you're losing as opposed to muscle, okay, or the percentage between those two. All right, principle number 2, resistance training, okay? So making sure that we're prioritizing getting stronger and building muscle. So this is not your sort of HIIT classes or boot camp conditioning only workouts. This is where your primary goal when you go to the gym, or when you're in the park, you might be a calisthenics person or whatever, that you're really trying to get stronger and build muscle. And to build muscle to the optimum, we're going to use a wide variety of rep ranges, a wide variety of exercises. Okay, so if you're not an athlete, say a powerlifter, where you might be primarily focused on 3 movements, or an Olympic lifter 2, you're just at your general recreational sort of weekend warrior athlete, we want to do different movements and get stronger in different rep ranges. All right, principle number 3, so this is sleep and stress, okay, or too much stress and a lack of sleep. Now, not only is this going to have a negative physiological impact on you, but probably more importantly, especially in the short term, is the mental impact it can have. So if you're not sleeping enough, let's say you've had 2 weeks, and we've all been there, we haven't had much sleep, especially those who've had children or got young kids. When you walk into that gym, you don't feel like performing your best, you don't feel like giving it your all. So it's very important to make sure that you are getting the best possible sleep that your life circumstances will allow. Again, not just for the negative physiological effects, because of how it's going to affect you mentally. So principle number 4, cardio. We've got a calorie deficit. That alone, we're already losing body fat. We've got adequate protein intake, so we're optimizing how much muscle mass we maintain. We're resistance training in a fashion that prioritizes building muscle. We're getting enough sleep. We're minimizing the stress the best we can. And then finally, we can now start peppering in cardio just to get you that last, sort of 10% of the way there. You should be able to get really close to your desired body fat percentage or your desired physique without doing a whole lot of extra cardio. But the leaner you get, the harder it is to lose more body fat. And now this is when doing the cardio is going to be really effective, as opposed to sort of doing it as your first, which may be your first instinct, as principle number 1. So what we can do is we can do various forms of cardio. We have to be a bit cautious here, because a lot of cardio, especially that really high intensity stuff, and you'll know, can make you really, really hungry. So this is where we're going to make sure that as we're starting to add this cardio in, that we don't bump our calories all the way up through the roof and defeat the whole calorie deficit thing. So what could be an easier way is maybe start with some steady state cardio, which might be more of a long walk or a bike ride, or some kind of recreational activity. You won't really think of it as training. And then you can also, if you want to, sprinkle in some high intensity interval training. You can think of that as shuttle runs or circuits where you're performing movements with fast body movements and things like that. So I hope this clarifies how the principles in which to get leaner. It's a subject that has become unnecessarily convoluted with conflicting advice. But if you obey these 4 steps, you are guaranteed to lose body weight. So thank you very much, team, and we'll continue learning next time.